So I want to be able to share with you how to sell to the wealthy and how to sell to those that are not. I've been able to generate over 5 million selling my programs. And anytime I talk about my own successes, I like to highlight stories of people we've been able to bring with us. And one of the people I want to spotlight today is Bailey King. She's someone in our community who is homeschooling her kids. She was a traveling mama, taking her kids to India and South Africa, and then went back to the States and was looking for another way to generate more income. As you know, traveling abroad, homeschooling your kids is very expensive, and also just a growing family. The cost of living is expensive. So she came to one of our workshops and felt led to build a community helping mamas, helping them with their productivity and their calling and their purpose and their confidence. And so we packaged an offer, and as we launched it, Bailey made over $25,000 in her very first launch with us. And we documented her story as a case study. If you want to see more of her story below, I think it will inspire you, and I will link it in the description. So today I want to be able to share with you, how do you sell to the wealthy and how do you sell to those that are not? And I want to be able to open up with a story that I hope you never forget, because it's a great story on how to think about pricing. It may challenge your view or may stretch your view on how you package and price your own offers. And so I was in the market to hire a nutritionist. I got to a place where I was reaching some chronic fatigue and I wasn't feeling my best. And so I needed to boost up my nutrition. So I hire a nutritionist and she shares her pricing with me. I say, all right, well, what is the price of your packages? And she goes, well, it's $500 for 5 sessions. So I said, okay, great. So it's $2,500. I said, sounds good. Let's do it. She goes, no, I think you misunderstood. It's $500 for 5 sessions. And I said, you mean to tell me the whole offer is $500? And she goes, yes. I said, all right, well, let's do it. She charges my card. And she goes, were you really going to pay me $2,500? And I said, yes. I almost didn't take you serious that you charged me only $500. I said, because, as an entrepreneur, I'm used to paying that amount for these type of services. And she goes, oh my gosh, I need to raise my pricing. So what's the principle here? She didn't know who she was selling to. So if you think about it, who you sell to matters and it impacts the price. For example, you look at Tony Robbins, who sells $1 million package. What is he selling for the day? That's $1 million. Well, he's working with a celebrity. He's working with an athlete. He's working with a politician or a big business owner. And so when we think about it, is he teaching them something he's withholding from the rest of his clients? No, it's the same information. The only thing that changes is who he's working with. And then we think a little bit further, well, if he helps, let's say, a big business owner get a breakthrough with their mindset and what's holding them back, think about the ripple effect and what they're going to be able to generate because of that impact. So that principle is known as impact-based pricing. So he's not going to charge $1 million for the day to work with a single mom, but if he's working with somebody of high impact, then it justifies the price point because of the value it brings to those leveraging the service he's providing. And so what is that? How does that have to do with you and how you package your offers and services? Well, the mindset I want to be able to share with you today is to make sure that you are prepared to have an offer to sell to the wealthy. And so the way I like to think about it is, let's say that this is you here and you have, we'll call this your signature offer. I like to be able to think about this as having your high tier, which is your VIP level. And so this is where you have an offer that you would package to be able to sell to somebody who's a little bit more successful, right? So you might say, well, Adam, I don't have a business growth program, so I don't help people make money or generate more revenue. So how would I charge more for what I do? Well, let's take relationships, for example. If you were to help an executive save their marriage, what would that cost them to go through a divorce? Maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. So what would it be for an executive to invest $5K or $10K to hire you if you can help in saving that marriage? So there's an image here that I hope you remember here, and we just want to be able to make sure that the price you're charging costs less than the value of the solution you're bringing. So to that executive, if they could spend 5 or 10 grand with you to help them with their marriage, but it saves them hundreds of thousands, if not millions, because you're preventing a divorce, then that's an easy decision. But you wouldn't charge 5 or 10,000 to maybe somebody who's just getting by. So the idea here is we want to be able to bring solutions to the wealthy and have pricing that matches the value. And a lot of times when we hear people raising their pricing, you hear people today say, I charge $25,000. Well, they're a lot of times basing it off of what other people have maybe told them that you're worth more. Well, just because you believe you're worth more doesn't mean that the program is actually worth that. We call that entitlement-based pricing. We don't want to charge more just because you feel entitled to, but because the actual usability and the experience is being enhanced as you're charging more. You have some experience, you gathered some testimonies. That's all part of that experience in elevating your pricing. But the message I'm trying to bring here is to be prepared, because you are going to meet the people who can't afford the true value that you bring. And the value that you bring can create huge impact to the right person. And if you're not prepared for that offer, you could end up shortchanging your pricing. Have you ever done this before? When you were thinking about your pricing, you wanted to play it a little bit safe because you didn't want to outprice yourself in fear that people may not be able to afford you. And so your mindset is, I want to keep my pricing affordable, because if it becomes too expensive, then I might lose the client and make nothing. And then they're going to walk away going, this person's too expensive, and they lose and then you lose. Have you ever thought that way before? Well, it happens a lot because we want to be able to be affordable because we want to help people. We don't want to deal with the rejection of it and then end up with no money. So it actually makes sense to think that way logically, because you would rather make some money than make no money at all. So make your pricing affordable helps justify that, right? So the idea though is that you want to be able to have the right pricing for the higher level person and be prepared, because the opposite is, if you don't have it, then you end up charging somebody really successful a lower price, you end up undercharging, then you make huge impact for them and you're like, man, I should have charged them more. So the way that you can think about it is, well, let's package an offer to help the wealthy. Let's have that offer ready to go. And so I remember, as I was on my pricing journey, my first package I ever sold was 12 years ago. It was $300, maybe 11 years ago, about $300 a month to work with me one-on-one. Made the jump up to $2,500 and then $5K. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is scary. Who's ever going to be able to afford this? Then I went to $10K and then $15 and then $25K. And I thought at $25K, no one would ever be able to afford me. Then I went to $50,000 and I thought, this is impossible, but I got to be prepared. And when I shared the price, she said yes. It's like I was inviting her to a cup of coffee. She said, yes, where do we get started? What's the next step? And I almost spilled my drink on myself. You ever not know how to act because you're just like, oh, I don't know what to do now. She just said yes, so simply. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a lot of objections, right? And then I sold $100K, and then my record today is $110,000 for 12 sessions to work with me. But am I selling that to a single mom? No, I'm selling those packages to companies and organizations who have a lot of revenue, because I'm going to help add more to that bottom line. So it makes sense because of who I'm selling to. So that's a question that I want you to reflect on. And here's a mistake that I see a lot as well, is that people adjust their pricing based off what they think the other person can afford, because it's what you can afford. And that lens will keep you underpricing or undervaluing yourself, because you're not always your client. So we don't want to make decisions out of the lens of what you can afford or what you deem expensive, but rather, what is the value of what you sell to the right person? And as we price ourselves that way, we now can be in alignment with our pricing so that we can feel good about making great impact with the gifts that we have and the service we provide to the right person. Then what about the people that are not wealthy? This is where some of these offers come in, and I like to call this the mid-tier, which is going to be more of your signature. This is going to be the program that you sell the most of. It's where a lot of your resources are. It's where your success path is. And so I'm going to put a little picture up of the screen here of my success path. So as you can see, it's like a candy land. So what I've been able to do is build a system that's highly predictable to get my clients results. It's made up of milestones that I'm helping them achieve to get to this end result. And for me, I lead my clients to become the CEO, where they have their marketing done for them, their customer support is delegated, their billing is delegated, they're only coaching, training, consulting, or speaking at a high level, and everything else is running for them so that they're just the CEO. That's the end game of where I want to take them, right? And so that's my success path. So in there, we're leading them through these milestones, providing that level of support, but I also know that I got to be able to make this more available to the masses. So this is going to be more priced to a place that is more of the higher end because I am bringing a lot of value and support. And this brings us to our next principle, is that if you underprice, then you don't have the resources to invest back into your clients to give them what they actually need. If you ever think about it, it goes to that principle like you get what you pay for. You ever heard that before? Well, it's like the same principle here. It's like if you charge a little bit because you're trying to make it affordable, well, then you don't have any money to bring in other resources. And so one of the things that has made my programs very successful is that I invest back into my clients, right? I'm surrounding them with accountability coach and a marketing coach to make sure they're generating leads daily. I'm surrounding them around a tech coach and a sales coach to make sure that the leads getting in are converting. And so I'm able to invest back into them, but I couldn't do that if my mindset was, I just want to be affordable. And that's a poverty mindset. Pricing so that people can just afford it rather than pricing it based off of giving them the resources they actually need to get to win and get results. So when you think about your mid-tier, let's say for example, if this was priced at, let's say $15,000 to $25,000, then this mid-tier might be priced somewhere between $2K to $5K, right? Maybe even $10K. Then on the low tier, this is going to be more of your basic packages, right? It's going to be more of the basic package. The person who's really struggling to maybe get ahead, but they really want your service. They really want to work with you. And so for us, we've packaged this to be more of a starter, an accelerator for our clients, where we're able to give them curriculum to get a head start, to start having success, and then we have a level of support for them. But because of the price, I can't invest in them fully what I can at this level for the students who make this stretch because there's less margin for me to pour back into them, right? But I have it for them because I don't want to just focus on the wealthy when the majority of the population is a mid-tier and low tier. And so my heart is I want to make sure that I have value at the high level, but I also want to make sure that I can serve everyday people, even the struggling single mom that needs support. How do I help her? And so if you have an agency where you have hard cost, you may not be able to just adjust pricing or have that flexibility, but you may give them a segment of your service where over here you're giving them the full package, right? So that's my mind on pricing. And so what it allows us to do is help so many more people because we're not limited to just one market. And I'm not just packaging one price and trying to get everybody into that container, but rather being able to charge my worth for the people that are going to have great impact from implementing what I teach. So with that being said, in review, it's important that you have the pricing to sell to the wealthy based off of impact-based pricing versus charging the same to everybody because your impact is different for higher level impact players, right? You want to be prepared for that. Second, we don't price based off of what we can afford, but what the market says the value is for what you're bringing. We don't charge based off of entitlement, but rather the usability and the experience you create to justify the price you are asking for in the market. And then lastly, we're having offers to sell to everyday people because we don't want to forget those that need the support and the gifts and the service you have, but we also have package ways to help them get results with where they're at so that we can be able to help the wealthy and be able to help those that are not. And that's been my philosophy that has helped us generate millions and impact people of all different levels. And so I hope this impacted you and helped you increase today. And so what I have for you is you might be wondering, well, Adam, what does it look like on the inside of these offers? I've seen videos like this before where I see conceptually what it looks like, but what does it look like on the inside when you lift up the hood? Well, in the next video, I'm going to share with you how to be able to package an offer that you can be able to sell in the next 30 days. What does it look like to package a $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 offer? Well, I'm going to share that with you so that you can see it in the next video. And also, I'm going to put in the description an invitation to our upcoming workshop where you can be live with me. We'll ask questions, get some work done on the call to help you be able to take your offer from set up to sold out. It's a really cool experience. It's free to sit in, and you can't buy anything during the workshop, which I don't know too many people who run workshops like that. So it's a safe room for you to be able to learn, ask questions, and it's not an automated webinar. It's a real live experience with us. So if you want to sit in on that, I'm going to put the link in the description to that as well. And I think you will like this next video if you liked this. So go ahead and take a moment, click the next video, and I hope this helped you increase today.